It's time to make Donald Trump pay for what he just did. He just upended democracy and justice, granting unconditional pardons to 1,600 Jan 6th insurrectionist and criminal defendants, including the most violent of the group that attacked, beat, and tried to brain and or kill the police and elected officials. That is already Donald Trump's legacy, and he's only a day into his new term. We must, as an American people, make him pay now and at the midterms for what he has done. He's tried to rewrite history. They say that history is written by the victors. Who are the victors of American democracy? I posit that it's the MeidasTouch legal community. It's the community that surrounds us. It is we, the people, that write the history. And we know what happened on Jan 6th. I'm going to talk more about the 1,600 unconditional pardons, an entire set of clemency and commutation of sentences, wiping away 100 years of sentence for the most heinous in leadership around Jan 6, meaning the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, who have had their sentences commuted. And Enrique Tarrio, who was sentenced to 22 years in prison as a member of the Proud Boys, he didn't just have his sentence commuted, he got a full pardon and is already out of jail on the way to Miami to celebrate with his family. I'm hot on this hot take. I'm hot for democracy. Right here on Legal AF and on the MeidasTouch Network. I'm Michael Popok. Let's dive in. We just saw a tremendous juxtaposition of how the world can be. Joe Biden uses his protective shield of pardons to protect all of the Jan 6 committee that did their civil and patriotic duty to bring to justice Donald Trump and all those around him who tried to usurp power and to overthrow our democracy. They got protection. 1,600 or so other that I said a couple of days ago, Joe Biden issued in order to try to ameliorate the sentencing disparity between black, brown, and white people when it came to drug cases. That's on Joe Biden's legacy. And I said that'll pale in comparison, and it has, to the new pardons that have now been issued by Donald Trump. It's hard to believe. I thought there'd be like a spreadsheet with all their names. No, it's just. Let me actually read it to you, so that you know. And let me not bury the lead. The leadership of the Oath Keepers and of the Proud Boys, from Stuart Rhodes, the guy with the eye patch, to Enrique Tarrio, right? They've all been granted some version of clemency, right? If they're in jail, like Stuart Rhodes serving up to 18, 20 years, they're out. If they're not out now, they'll be out by this week. All of the leadership, I'm going to read you the names in a minute. And particularly galling is the fact that Enrique Tarrio, who got 22 years after a trial, right? After a trial in front of Judge Mehta, in a jury trial, convicted of attempting to violently overthrow the government, seditious conspiracy, the highest charge against these people. He's out already on his way to Miami. That is a stain on Donald Trump on day one of his administration. And we have to hold the flame of democracy and hold him accountable for it. Let's go through it. Here's the, we'll put it up on the screen. Here's the actual granting pardons and commutation of sentences for certain offenses relating to the events at or near the United States Capitol on Jan 6, 2021. By a proclamation. This proclamation ends a grave national injustice. Think about this historical rewrite that has been perpetrated upon the American people over the last 4 years and begins a process of national reconciliation. Like this is the end of the Civil War. Acting pursuant to the grant of authority in Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution, I do hereby, A, commute the sentences of the following individuals convicted of offenses related to events that occurred at or near the United States Capitol on January 6th. Stuart Rhodes, up to 20 years, seditious conspiracy. Kelly Meggs, the same. These are the Oath Keepers. Kenneth Harrelson, Thomas Caldwell, Jessica Watkins. Everyone here is an Oath Keeper or a Proud Boy who led the military operation to try to overthrow democracy. Roberto Minuta, Edward Vallejo, David Morshell, Joe Hackett, Ethan Nordine, Joe Biggs, Zachary Rell, Dominic Pizzola, and Jeremy Bertuno. Then for everybody else, there's going to be a grant, a full and complete and unconditional pardon to all other individuals convicted of offenses related to events that happened on October 6th. The Attorney General shall administer and effectuate the immediate issuance of certificates of pardons to the individuals above. That's going to be the future Attorney General. And that the Bureau of Prisons shall immediately implement all instructions for the Department of Justice regarding this directive. I further direct the Attorney General to pursue dismissal with prejudice to the government of all pending indictments against individuals. There's another 400 people that have been indicted. There's another 200 that were just indicted 2 weeks ago because that took that long to find them and to bring them to justice. And the Bureau of Prisons shall immediately implement all instructions. It's already been done. Tario is out. It's already celebrating with his family in Miami. The narrative is a split narrative. They talk about reconciliation. There is a split narrative here. There's a dichotomy, a binary operation going on before our very eyes. Because they think they won, sort of like in the Civil War, when they sort of buried the slavery issue as years went on, and they put up statues erected to talk about the war of northern aggression. That's how the South referred to the Civil War. Try to put them on moral equality and moral equal footing. Same thing here with Donald Trump. That's why they use the vocabulary of these. This was a love fest. These are political prisoners and hostages, not prisoners. Let me tell you a little bit. And over the last 2 years, I've done dozens and dozens of hot takes and videos. You can find them under Popok playlist about each of these most violent defendants and how they were convicted in a court of law with due process before a jury of their peers, or if they waived the right to a jury trial before a judge in federal court in the District of Columbia. Let's talk about what happened on that day. We know what happened on that day. Over 250 police officers were injured, some mortally, some fatally. 5 deaths occurred that day in that love fest, that Capitol tour gone awry, according to Donald Trump. 2 police officers saw such brutality that day and such carnage that they took their own lives. Others immediately retired. It had been described by the police and other observers, especially at the Western Terrace, as being a pitched medieval battle. One police officer who went to Fallujah in the armed forces, said that the blood on the steps that she stepped on and slipped on reminded her of Fallujah. Yeah, they broke into the Capitol. They desecrated the cradle of our democracy, literally defecated in its hallways. They tried to get down the Speaker's Bureau to try to hang and assassinate members of Congress and their staff. If it wasn't for the quick thinking of an outmatched and outnumbered Capitol and Metro Police, we would have had elected officials and staff die under the hands of the Jan 6th. I mean, just think how they were treating the police and beating the police. Come closer. I have a secret I want to share with you. I have a secret superpower that always gets me a seat in hard to get into restaurants. I point to the maitre d' or host or hostess and ask right away when I walk in, hey, did anyone ever tell you you look exactly like, and now fill in the blank quickly of someone they at least vaguely look like, and smile. Like I get David Duchovny back in the day, or Senator Sheldon Whitehouse with less white hair. A secret weapon is a great asset to have in your back pocket. It helps you get ahead in life. And that's how Mack Weldon thinks about clothing, as a secret weapon. Timeless, classic style that's infused with performance fabrics and hidden details. Whether you're looking for light as air underwear, anti-odor tees, or sweaters with lightweight warmth, Mack Weldon has a full range of clothes that feel comfortable all day long and never go out of style. I adore all that Mack Weldon has to offer, and this time of year, I can't get enough of their sweater shop, where the sweaters combine the softest tech fabric and merino wool or cashmere, like I'm a cardigan man. And I love the clean look and shawl collar with buttons of their warm knit cardigan in foxhole heather. And more importantly, my wife gives me that knowing wink when I come down the staircase in head-to-toe Mack Weldon. Mack Weldon's clothes are not flashy, just classic. Always in style and made from the world's most comfortable performance materials. They look like regular clothes, but feel like the latest in modern comfort. They're the go-to choice for guys who want to look great without even trying. And I forgot to mention that Mack Weldon has you covered underneath too, with their air knit underwear collection of breathable underwear that keeps you cool, dry, and comfy all day. Get timeless looks with modern comfort from Mack Weldon. Go to MackWeldon.com and get 25% off your first order of $125 or more with promo code LegalAF. That's MackWeldon.com, promo code LegalAF. Seditious Conspiracy, which was all the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys that I read, and the ones that had their sentences wiped away, over 100 years of sentences wiped away. That was for the attempted violent overthrow of our government. And now they're about to be free people again. One of the defendants, now freed by Donald Trump, he used his hands, his feet, a flagpole, pepper spray, and other weapons against the police and was given 18 years. Julian Cater used pepper spray against Brian Sicknick, a Metro or Capitol police officer who died the following day. Patrick McGahee, he crushed a Capitol police officer in a doorway. This is just 2 or 3 of the 1,600. J.D. Vance, remember him? He's now your vice president, or our vice president, apparently. He said out loud about a week or so ago, I did a hot take on it, that no person that attacked law enforcement should be given a pardon. Well, that would eliminate half of the 1,600. They started to attack J.D. Vance, and he walked it back. Because he's an empty suit, right? He's all hat, no cattle. Started to say, well, we love the Jan 6th insurrectionists, hostages, sorry. Look at the comparison in the waning days of the Biden administration. Sad to say that's now over. And who he commuted the sentences of and who he pardoned. And look in the sharp contrast of what Donald Trump just did to rewrite history, which we cannot let him do. We must stand up to the injustice. We must call it out. We must join together, and we must make Donald Trump suffer. As I said, there's a reason that Joe Biden took steps in the final days to enter executive orders to try to Trump-proof democracy. This is one aspect of it. Goading Donald Trump into doing the unthinkable, the unimaginable, the unpatriotic, the undignified, the gross. Federal judges who all presided over these cases, who saw thousands of hours of video footage, who saw the social media posts, who saw the GoPro videos, who heard the audio, who read the transcripts, who saw the testimony, are aghast and appalled at what has just happened. Totally, again, crapping all over our criminal justice system. And I wonder, let's play a thought experiment. I wonder what the United States Supreme Court and its MAGA right wing, and Chief Justice Roberts in particular, I wonder what they're thinking right now about how they've unleashed the monster, Frankenstein, who's now rampaging the countryside, right? And what they're thinking right now about their colleagues in the federal court system who presided over this case and what it means for our democracy as the flag lies now at our feet in tatters, along with our Constitution, along with our Bill of Rights, along with our Declaration of Independence. What is the Supreme Court? What could they possibly be thinking now as the jails and the prisons are opened and those that attacked our democracy are let out? When I heard about it, I was driving between the podcast studio and my home, and I literally had to pull over because I thought I was going to be sick to my stomach. But I'm back. This is why we're on the MeidasTouch network. This is why we helped build this channel. This is why we built the Legal AF channel. To lean forward, not back at this critical moment. Yeah? And to hold Donald Trump accountable. to make him look the American people in the eye and say, I'm going to open the jail cells. And all those people that you saw burn flags, burn the Capitol set ablaze, break windows, use flagpoles and pepper spray and 2x4s and their bare hands and anything, and police batons and police shields to try to kill, brain, maim, injure law enforcement in a crazed, fomented state by Donald Trump to try to get inside the Capitol. I'm not making this up. I'm just reporting the videos that I've seen and the descriptions by the Department of Justice of the criminal acts of these people. There's a reason these people went away for 10, 15, 18, 22 years in Enrique Tarrio's example. There's a reason. Not because they were jaywalking or caught publicly urinating, right? They were injuring law enforcement. Law enforcement should be ashamed of themselves too. To the extent that none of them, or there was a group of them that didn't support the Democrats the last time around, this is what you just elected. Remember that the next time. Fraternal order of police and the rest, to think about which side of law and order you want to be on. I'm going to continue to follow it. But just to answer the questions that often come up in the chat, I'll be doing Popok Live Tuesday night, tomorrow night, talking about this as well. There's nothing we can do about this. Probably the most robust power a president holds under our Constitution, reinforced by this group on the United States Supreme Court, is the power to pardon. Nothing you can do about it. They're going to whoop it up. They're going to celebrate. I'm sure they're going to commit crimes again. And what was the lesson that Donald Trump just taught the school children of America? What is it? You can be an arsonist. You can be a criminal. You can be a violent person who attacks the law enforcement. And if you happen to vote for the right guy, he'll let you out of jail. That's the lesson that we've just taught the American youth. We're better than that. We can do better than that. Continue to follow everything we do here on the MeidasTouch Network. It's so important now, more than ever before, that you have an independent, people-powered network at the intersection of law and politics. That's why we also formed the Legal AF channel. For this moment, there's going to be a lawsuit filed like every day for the next 6 months, a year, 2 years. We're going to cover it all on the intersection of law and politics, that hot corner. Come over to Legal AF, the YouTube channel as well, and help us grow that pro-democracy channel. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.